So what we're going to look at is, okay, what are some of the negative consequences of this, basically? So every large business wants repeat customers, and therefore they engineer their product to fail much, much earlier than they necessarily need to. This causes additional burden in terms of mining rare resource and completely ignores the fact that we don't have infinite supply of everything. Who hasn't been overcharged for something? Yeah, and the medical industry seems to be particularly good at ripping off their customers. So look at the fourth one down, $40,000 for a file of whatever it is. And this is, I guess, their way of making their money back on the stuff doesn't come to market. But it seems massively unfair on the people that have got diseases or illnesses that these drugs treat. Everything that's online now trying to get you to subscribe to free trials so that they can basically assume you're going to forget about cancelling the membership and carry on a monthly subscription basis for the end of your life. Cancelling subscriptions is a complete nightmare, and deliberately so. Certain sectors of the economy benefit from conflict because of the wealth inequality picture. Small numbers of individuals have disproportionate influence and control. There have been a myriad of financial scams, and these are inevitably going to continue. So companies, surprise, surprise, routinely lie to you or hide the truth, potentially selling you things that are addictive and bad for you, either financially, mentally, or physically, potentially leading to death. So I'm sure there's a load of other things that companies do that are in service of increasing revenue that, morally bankrupt. Anyway, that's all I can think of for now. Here's some cost reduction things that they also do. So have you ever wondered why it's necessary to have a bank account in a country that you do no business in? I can only think of one reason. There's been a number of cases of exploitation in various different shoe manufacturers and clothing manufacturers, but I'm sure this is still going on. As is potentially lax safety standards. Again, somewhere in the supply chain you never see, but in some other country, out of sight, out of mind. Unquestionably, the oil industry particularly, but many other industries are doing environmental harm as we speak. I have no words for this one. Musk is trying to replace everybody with robots, and the European auto industry is responsible for circa 5,000 deaths annually as a result of cheating and emissions testing. And then obviously we've got denial of coverage and perverse spectre of the health insurance industry increasing profits massively because of a pandemic. Most of these things that are being done in service of increasing earnings are totally legal and encouraged implicitly or explicitly by shareholders who want to increase their earnings. And the whole thing sits in a kind of ecosphere of national bank, governments, financial institutions, and the stock market in its various weird guises. And then we get this sort of nonsense where the structure of the economic systems are open to abuse, manipulation, fraud, and ultimately losses to normal people. So let me summarise all of that. The system that governs the way the economy works drives a set of behaviours that are not in the interest of society at large. The shareholders of some corporations tolerate or encourage actions that cause misery and suffering to many people, quite legally. System oversight has failed to prevent multiple scandals and further suffering. The net result of the way the system is set up is that it drives extreme wealth inequality.